Hi there, and welcome to my mobile game submission. This project is backed up on GitHub if you want to see the progress across the module. My game, as you saw currently on the Google internal testing track, is a fantasy RPG aimed at a super casual audience. The original prototype pitch saw inspiration drawn from mobile ports of Final Fantasy and games like Fate Grand Order. However, during development, after drawing up idea after idea, I found the task of creating a full turn-based system a little daunting for 12 weeks, so I pivoted the idea while keeping the same theme to be targeted at a much more casual audience. As seen on screen, each level consists of a similar setup. There's an enemy health bar, a time limit which can be changed per level's difficulty, and the player is given button prompts in order to execute moves. After pressing this little fist icon to start their turn, they can either execute a standard slash attack or a magical meteorite shower that spawns in this little meteorite effect to indicate that you've completed it. In the back end, I can change the melee and magic defense values per scene to increase or decrease difficulty according to the scene. Additionally, every attack generates a random number, and if it falls into a range of a critical hit, a larger vibration will play to indicate that you have done a critical hit, but I'll discuss that more in the feature section. If the player fails to defeat the enemy, they'll be sent to a lost screen, where they can restart, go to the main menu, or go to the world map. The win screen is similar, but lacks the ability to replay the level, as there's no reason at this moment to replay it. Finally, to navigate these levels, you're launched into a 2D tile map, replicating on a macro scale the overworld you might see in a Final Fantasy game. You can move by both joystick and gyro with animations for each character, add a little bit of vibrance to the mundane task of moving along scenes. The setting of each level is designed in a way that can be altered to suit the location you're in. Of the 4 levels in this game so far, the ones on the island use a standard green forest setting, while the one on the bridge, uses a bridge asset. Progress can be checked by seeing a green square over where the level once was, and while there's no way to replay the levels for now, the achievements act as a way to track progress as well. Now, this is a mobile game, so let's talk mobile features. First off is vibration. While this game has been developed for Android since Google Play is the easiest to launch on, I used candy-coded haptic feedback in order to use this feature to its fullest, as not only is it able to operate on both Android and iOS, which makes switching platforms much easier, but it also offers 3 intensities of vibrations, and while it still depends on the device how strong each of those turns out to be, it offers much more control in different scenarios. The first use of vibration is for haptic feedback in the menu. If you have a setting on in the options, you'll receive a haptic vibration whenever you click on a button. This means that the player is able to be sure they press a button and avoid fat fingering empty space. A secondary use is during battle. A vibration is used when you attack, but a much heavier one will be used when you land a critical hit, which will elicit instant feedback to the player, since as of now there's only one way to confirm it. A second mobile-only feature is gyro. While a joystick is great, it can often feel intrusive, so once again, using the options menu you can toggle onto the gyro player, indicated by changing the actual sprite. This can then be used to navigate the map and change animations accordingly. As another example of an API, I've integrated 2 versions of ads through Unity Ads. The first uses a banner ad, which happens when you load into the world map for the first time. This will then persist throughout scenes. Banner ads are the least intrusive version of available ads, as they take up a small portion of the screen. However, this meant that I've had to design the main UI so that nothing is obscured at the bottom of the screen, options menu included. A secondary interstitial ad plays 5 seconds after loading into the world map. The timer can be changed if the interstitial ad proves too intrusive, since the timer will happen every time you complete a level and reload into the world map. A final API I've added is Google Play services. Typically in mobile games you'll either have an achievement or leaderboard to track the progress. As you would have seen in the prior footage on logging onto the game, you'll come across a little flag to notify you if you are logged in. Subsequent achievements and leaderboard code cannot be executed unless your login has been confirmed, meaning in an APK build these features are disabled. Every time you complete a level, your leaderboard score will be increased by 1. You can press the leaderboard icon on either the world map or main menu to see these. The same can be said of achievements. There are 2 types of achievements: simple unlock ones, such as when you load into your first level, or incremental unlocks, such as after you have performed a magic attack 3 times cumulatively. These offer a unique way of showing the player their progress, as well as the visuals on the world map. Overall, Google Play services was very easy to implement. However, let's say this game needed to be ported over to iOS in the future. At some point I would have to drastically change how the architecture from Google Play to whatever the iOS equivalent systems may be. In addition to mobile only and external APIs that facilitate features, I've added in numerous other aspects to inject a little bit of juice into the game. To list them off quickly with visual aids, we have models used for players and enemies with animation to denote each attack type. We have the basic skybox implemented in order to differentiate the environments from the basic Unity scenes. There is music and sound effects used across each scene that I found online, as well as the particle effect from the magical meteorite spell found for free within the Unity Asset Store. In the true final release of the game, I would want to spend time to completely replace these aspects with custom made ones to give it a little more of a unique feel in order for it to carve its own identity within the mobile space. Now, once again, this is a mobile game, so there's lots of design considerations to make for making it fit within the form factor of a mobile screen. Using Unity built-in simulator, we can see that the canvas used for the options menu will resize depending on the device, with all buttons staying on screen. The same can be observed for the battle scene as well. Speaking of the options menu, compare it to the prototype. There has been some visual changes to make it more fitting with the fantasy theme, and to make the other options such as different controls and haptic settings look more interesting to the player while still being easily identified to their actual purpose within the game itself. Speaking of the options menu, it's designed so that the player has easy access to all the choices of play. The haptics option also makes it easy for a player to choose whether they want vibrations on or not, as they can be, in my experience at least, a little bit distracting over time. Additionally, to add even more unique character to the game, the main menu I decided to make a 3D scene with interactable buttons. Each interactable is not only easily labelled, but has a 3D model as an indicator for each purpose. Gears for settings is a near universal symbol within the application space, trophy for achievements, and a podium for leaderboards, and a sword to begin your fantasy adventure. The options menu, being an overlay on top of the screen, allows the player to still be hearing the background music and associated sound effects while altering their respective settings, so that they don't have to keep opening and closing the menu to get it just right, as well as the settings carrying over between scenes, so everything is consistent. Finally, while my early sketches portray the potential to have portrait screens as well as landscape, I decided to default to landscape by default, as this allows for more real estate when it comes to placing buttons and information around the screen. It makes the phone easier to grip on during play sessions, as well as reducing the amount of constant rotations a player would need to do between scenes, which would get them rather annoyed, and probably make them want to play the game less. Now, there are a few limitations. Let's start with a simple bug that found its way into the project, shall we? Gyro and joysticks are controlled working on Unity's two different input systems, old and new, and in the editor this isn't a problem. Unfortunately, Android did not support both at the same time, and while I don't have time to change it, I chose to use the old input system, as that would allow Gyro, the mobile feature, to work for the release. But this can be fixed with a simple patch that, thanks to Google Play, I can easily launch and using the different Unity input system. Now onto the feature critique. The game, while having a complete gameplay loop, isn't that engaging, and while it's taken on a more idle approach, I would like to add things such as stat buffs for the player, which allow them more diversity in their skills. Imagine being able to equip different spells or sword to use different attacks that can really spice up the feel of the game. Another easy addition would be to add more levels to the game. As you can see, I've designed different islands set up for the player to go to, which means more levels can easily be added over and over again. Alongside the ads, another avenue of monetization could be in-game skins that you can buy from a store using real money, which would look great when custom models are added into the game, and customization therefore can be opened up a lot more to the player. That about concludes my video portion of this submission. As always, you can see the links to my GitHub and the itch page this game is uploaded on within the README provided. I've added the University Google account to the testers list, and there is a link to join the internal testing program for my game. However, if that does not work for any reason, then APK provided within the files as well to run on your phone. But please do be aware, Google Play features are unfortunately disabled on account of being unable to connect in APK form for obvious reasons. Additionally, when you open the project files, there may be a slight error that occurs saying Play Game Services cannot be found. This is a simple fix, just go into the build settings and make sure it's targeted to Android. For some reason, when I reopen the project after unzipping it, it defaults it back to a Windows build. So just do that and the error goes away. So thanks for watching, and I'll close out with some clearer in-editor gameplay for you to watch.
Thank you.